All right, nobody likes it when people say, I told you so, particularly if I told you so involves them losing billions of dollars of your money. But South Carolina state lawmakers, told you so. Told you so. And in fact, I want to go back to 2008 when I first called on the members of the South Carolina General Assembly to sell Santee Cooper, which is the state's government-run, chronically mismanaged, debt-addled power provider. Now, you're wondering, wait a minute, what is government doing running a power company? Well, that is a very good question, because in South Carolina, they're running it into the ground to the tune of $10 billion that was lost in a botched construction of a nuclear power plant back in 2017, 2 nuclear reactors that, again, they just abandoned the construction. Taxpayers are still paying for those, $10 billion and counting. Well, Santee Cooper, the power provider, state-run, government-run, political appointees run this thing, literally appointed by the legislature, by the governor, politicians in charge of this. It's been a disaster, and it continues to be a disaster. This week, a year after they said, no, we're not going to sell this to the private sector, which, by the way, it's amazing that anybody in the private sector still wanted to buy this steaming turd, but they did. NextEra Energy in Florida proposed $9.6 billion for it. Dominion Energy here in South Carolina also had a great offer. We should have gotten rid of this thing, but no, South Carolina politicians said they knew best. And so here we are stuck with another $450 million in new debt. Now, Santee Cooper, folks, is this going to save them long term? No. And I'll tell you why. Because this utility is excessively reliant on dirty, uneconomic coal to fund its power provision. And even then, it just had to notify the federal government that it might not be able to meet demand because guess what? It can't buy the coal it needs to fire its dirty generators. The price is too high. The war in Ukraine has sent global coal prices through the roof. And beyond that, there have been fires in some of the mines of Santee Cooper's key providers. So its costs for coal have been through the roof, and it can't pass those costs on to people because it's prohibited from enacting rate hikes until the end of 2024. What does it do? Again, a bailout from you, the taxpayers. All because these same politicians who are appointing its leaders refused to sell it when they had the chance. In fact, they should have sold it before the nuclear debacle. Would have saved $10 billion. But again, it's just billions, right? We're just talking about billions of dollars of your money as taxpayers and ratepayers. Again, it would be nice to have some choices at the ballot box this November, wouldn't it, people? Because every single politician in Columbia bears some responsibility for this, but none more than the leaders of the South Carolina Senate and the State House of Representatives who have had multiple chances to offload this anti-competitive albatross and have failed to do so. I told you then, I'm telling you now, it is past time for South Carolina to get out of the power generation business and let the private sector perform this function.